Okay guys, we are back and boy have we been busy. I've also been a bit sick, so if my voice sounds a bit weird, that's why. This episode has been delayed a couple of days, unfortunately, but we've been busy while on vacation. We've done a lot of renovations and upgrading our current tech. If you have any questions about things that we've been working on as I'm stepping through this video, just drop a comment and I will definitely see that and do my best to respond. The first thing we're going to take a look at is our upgraded capacitor bank. We're now using advanced blocks and we have 9 instead of 3 for a total capacity of 18 million FE. Now I have this set up so all of our power generation and usage is going through it, so I can keep an eye on our input and output. We're currently running a few machines, so that's why our output is a little over 1,000 FE a tick. Now if we weren't running any machines, our power usage would be just shy of 500 FE a tick. And that's because of our Applied Energistics system, as well as our guard enclosures. Each one of those guard enclosures is like 8 FE a tick, and we keep adding additional seeds from mystical agriculture, as well as some other farmable items. So that is going to continue to grow, and I have expanded that area, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, you may notice we have a few more thermal electric generators. We did put one more ring around the exterior, and that took us from 25 to 41 for a total output of 1,722 FE a tick. That's some really awesome passive power that I don't have to worry about any type of fuel. It's just always generating power, and a really nice backbone to have to make sure our Applied Energistics system is always running, because that is where the bulk of our storage is at. We've also moved the machines out of here. I'll show you where we put those in just a moment. But first, let's head out into what will be the main little hub area. We don't have an entrance from the exterior into the interior. To be quite honest, it's really ugly. And I don't know why, but these guys, even though I have put down a mega torch and it is sitting right under this block right here, it's definitely helped with mob spawns, but these guys are still spawning on the outer edges of the loaded chunks and are teleporting into our base, and they're dropping blocks off. It's really annoying. I'll deal with these guys later, but they keep coming in here. It's a little frustrating. I don't know what this is. Somebody has put that down in our base. Ender inhibitor active. If you guys know what that is, let me know. I don't know if someone's trying to prank us or they're trying to deal with our Enderman spawners. I don't know. But if we walk into our mystical agriculture room, you're going to notice we've added 2 more rows of guard enclosures. One of these is already being used, and I think it's full except one spot. And then over here, I think all of these are in use except one. We have added a couple additional seeds. I'm not going to go into all of these. Some of these are pretty useful. We've got obsidian, we have dye seed, water, and then some regular food items, and melons, and pumpkins, and some beetroot. And then of course you can see this was one of these is wheat, and one of these is industrial hemp. And then over here we haven't used any of these at all. As we start to fill these up, we got room for another row right there. And if we need to, down below, we've added an extra room, and I'll show that to you guys in a moment. You may hear a few machines running. That is one of the new things we've added. But what do you guys think about this design? It's really coming together. We got rid of all the stone and replaced it with this kind of rustic factory block. I really like this design with the caution blocks combined with these purple blocks. We're keeping the ceiling, and we've added these inverted white wall lamps from Pneumatic Craft. I think it really is coming together and starting to look like a factory. I've come up with a pretty cool door design. Let me know what you guys think. We're going to continue to tweak and change things and add little details here and there, but I think overall this is really looking really good. You'll notice we've added like a second floor to this big room, basically just some walkways. We've kind of chest automated our coke ovens, so we just put our coal in here, it runs through these, and then our coal coke comes into this barrel. We've got all these little power units in the 4 corners of the room. These have an input output, so all of the machines in here are running off of these, and then the input's coming from our capacitor bank, and each one of these is advanced and holds 6.4 million FE. So we got quite the power bank going on in our base already. We've started getting into villagers like I said we would. We currently have an efficiency 5, infinity, silk touch, looting 3, mending, unbreaking 3, fortune 3, aqua affinity, depth strider 3, proc 4, sweeping edge 3, and respiration 3. We need some more room. I'll be adding more of these. I just got tired of rolling them. I'm probably going to add some down below because we've got some wall space down below. We also have some space there and just a little bit over there. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have this little villager hat, so we put this on when we're making trades. We really haven't looked at these in depth, but this is one of the artifacts. And you have to unlock the little patterns, which we have looked at before. And this one is giving us this innocent appearance, which prevents iron golems from attacking the player. And then we have this trade secret, which it looks like it can be upgraded. So let's go ahead and level that up. And now that's making our trades 23% cheaper. So that's what we're doing instead of running these through that machine that makes the trades cheaper. So we just put that on when we're making trades. So we have a double iron farm. So we're getting plenty of iron. And that is about it for this floor. If we pop over here, you've seen all this already. I haven't changed anything. I did move some stuff around, but it's basically the same setup. We're running it right now. We've gotten some ingot outputs. I've started putting signs on things so we can see what is what. So there's the sawmill input, there's a sawmill output, there's the osmium compressor input, and it just outputs in the same chest since it's ingots. And I've started adding these elevator blocks in so we can kind of teleport around. I don't think I'm going to add stairwells. They just take up a lot of space and you don't really use them in a modded base. If I do add them, it'll just be for aesthetic purposes. I really like that blue factory block. It kind of breaks up the purple and brings out some of the blue in this purple factory block. But I would love to know what you guys think. It looks like we've just about filled up our fluid tank from immersive engineering. I know there's better ways to deal with this fluid, but I think the tank it looks aesthetically pleasing in the factory build. We have our fancy improved blast furnace. And like I said in the last episode, we did end up moving all of this around. And I think it's really looking pretty good. So we have our crusher here. The inputs for these are right here. So we have our crusher input, our blast furnace input, and then at the very bottom is where all of the slag from our improved blast furnace is going. And then the steel gets put in here. We are working on producing a whole bunch of steel, and that is simply before this episode's over, I want to craft the the steel seed. And if we take a look at that, you'll see why we need so much steel. It is very, very expensive. Steel seed, even though it's only a tier 4 seed, it requires a compressed steel block, which is 9 steel blocks. So that's so much steel, and you need 4 of those. We should be getting very, very close. We do have our arc furnace hooked up, but we're not currently using it at the moment. I need to set up a process for getting the rods so it will function, and those go at the top. We did talk about that in the last episode. I'm not going to dive into that any deeper. This is basically set up the same way as it was, but we moved it over one more so it would line up with this wall. And we have, since the previous episode, added a couple of these automated engineer workbenches. And the input is over here, and the output is in this chest over here. These are flip-flops, so this one over here, the input is on the left side. So we do have 2 of these. We're only using 1 right now, and we're using it to make the various immersive engineering components, which is very, very useful, but it's also a good way to automate making the graphite bars for your arc furnace. I need to set up that. You'll notice we have added a new room, and in here, guys, we've also added a renewable power source. It's not as passive as the thermoelectric generators from immersive engineering, but we've added 21 of these bio-generators from Mekanism. And if we take a peek at one of these, you can see each one of these is generating 280 FE a tick. Guys, we have 21 of these. Only 9 of them are hooked up currently because these total are generating 5,880 FE a tick. That is more than our basic cable can handle. You can see that it can only transfer, I don't know if I currently have any, I don't currently have any, but it's 3.2 thousand, so 3,200 FE a tick. So I'm gonna have to do some cable upgrades to the advance so we can collect all this power. I actually have another idea that we may take a peek at later today. But for right now, I don't need the power, but we will by the time we wrap up today's episode. But how are we getting the fuel for these bad boys? Well, we have 6 garden cloches over here, and we're producing melons, which grow very, very fast. We're running those through a sawmill at a set rate with upgrades. So it's just slightly producing more melon slices than our crushing factory can turn the slices into biofuel, which is then getting stored in this spruce drawer, which has a diamond upgrade. So this thing can hold a lot, 49,000 to be precise. And we can add more stack upgrades. So that's kind of where we're at. I'll probably also add a stack upgrade to this because I want a huge buffer of both. Because once all these start burning, I don't know if that's going to be enough melon production. But we can add a couple more. You can see we've got a couple spots on the floor where we're going to add 2 more rows of garden cloches. And then we can add some more along this wall over here if we need to. This room is a little bit of an odd shape, but it'll look pretty neat once we get our garden closures in here. It's very similar to the room above. And in between our base, I haven't really showed this off too much, but man, it is a mess. We have, I'm gonna pop into fly mode here for a moment. You can see we got cables running everywhere. It's becoming very hard to separate our power input versus output, but I have a plan, and we're gonna make some changes later in today's episode. But I think it's really starting to come together, and I'm already thinking about our next major renovations that we're going to be working on. But today's goal, guys, is we're going to be diving into autocrafting. Very, very, very basic Applied Energistics Autocrafting. That's today's primary goal. Before we tackle today's progression in crafts, we're going to take a quick peek down below. I forgot to pop my head in and show this room off. You can see we've brought in our design. We've moved our infusion setup to the middle of the room. We've also brought down our machines. These are chest automated. So we've got our alloy smelter, our sag mill, we have a wire charger, the soul extractor, and we've upgraded our infusing machine to 2 infusing factories. And if we just take a moment, I want to show you the recipe for that. It just requires one of the basic infusers, some redstone, iron, and basic control circuit. And also, we didn't really look at those Mekanism Bio-Generators. Those are fairly simple to make. That's why we have so many. It just requires some biofuel, an infused alloy, and one of those basic control circuits and a couple of iron ingots. And just to remind you guys, basic control circuit is processed with one of our infusers. It's just osmium combined with redstone, and the infused alloy is copper with redstone, which reminds me, I was working on making some more because we used all of ours up. We do have some upgrades in those, so they run fairly quickly, but not all the way because I don't want to burn all the power up just yet. All right, now, before we dive into any crafts, I want to take a quick peek at our quest book. And if we open our quest book, you'll see we've kind of went through and closed out some of the stuff that we've kind of done from touching things that we're not really working on. The key areas I want to show to you guys is one mechanism, because this is one of the things that we've been working on together. We have crafted our first refined glowstone. We have also unlocked the bio-generator, and we got one of these wind generators as a reward. I don't know if we'll use any of those, but we're going to go ahead and close out the quest. We also have an advanced energy cube. We showed those off to you guys. And we have our biofuel, and that should have us called up from a mechanism standpoint. And then looking at mystical agriculture, you can see we've got this one. I don't remember crafting that, but we're going to go ahead and accept it. We've got some additional seeds. We'll close these out really quickly. If we take a quick peek at basic logistics, we have our transport pipe. Some of these, I don't know if we'll do them all, because I don't really have an interest in getting into pipes or integrated dynamics. So we'll see. It looks like we've unlocked something else from Mechanism. Yes, we did do these. So that clears those up. And if we look at basic tools, you can see we have our tier 5 or Allthemodium, as well as our mining gadget. And with basic armor, we have our Allthemodium, which kind of reminds me, one thing I want to tackle today, guys, is upgrading our netherite armor to Allthemodium. I think that'll be a big accomplishment. The big focus for us as far as completion is these chapters. They have added a couple more things. And just as an update, we're currently running version 2.20 of the mod pack. And if we take a quick peek at beginning, we'll go ahead and close that out. And we have our energy cube. We're getting really close to finishing this chapter. We're not going to get to that today, but eventually we will finish it up. And then on Allthemodium, of course, we have our Allthemodium ingots. We have our teleport pad. We have been to the nether. We've been to the mining dimension. We've technically stepped into the other, but that was by mistake and we didn't stay. And we've been to the end to get some resources. But our next step in Allthemodium is finding an Allthemodium smithing template, which is only found in ancient cities. I've raided one already and did not find one, so I'll have to see what we can come up with today. Looking at our star, one of the two big goals, we have a couple more things here. And I think that's it under the, oh no, and Allthemodium. I knew there was a couple more. It appears we filled up our inventory with quest rewards. That's okay. This is the cleanest our quest book has looked in a while. This is a new chapter they have added, guys. And just peeking in here at this, it appears we have done visit the overworld. That's literally it. So that has our quest book up to date. Now let's take a look at our first craft for today. So I think I have all of the resources that we're going to need to step through these crafts ready to go. We're not going to craft everything we need, but we're going to try to craft one or two of everything. Then I'm going to put it together and show you guys how we have it all hooked together. The very first thing we're going to look at is the molecular assembler from Applied Energistics. This requires one of the formation cores and one of the annihilation cores, which we have looked at these before, but we'll just take a quick peek. Logic processor, fluix dust, and one of the quartz. And if we flip over and look at the other one, it's basically the same thing with nether quartz. It also requires some quartz glass, some iron, and one crafted station. We're just going to craft one of these for now. I will need several of these. But for now, we're just going to craft one. And then from there, we're going to take a look at this crafting monitor. This requires one of these crafting units. Now, several of the components that we're going to be crafting today require these crafting units. And they require 4 iron, 2 fluix and glass cables, which we've looked at before, a calculation processor, and a logic processor. Not too complicated. We're going to go ahead and craft a couple of these. I think 3 will be enough. And then we can go back over to our crafting monitor, which also requires one of the storage monitors, which is in a panel which we have, and one of these level emitters, which is a calculation processor and a redstone torch. We're going to go ahead and craft that monitor now. And then we should be able to craft our crafting monitor. Now we're going to take a look at crafting co-processing unit. We're going to craft one of these for now. And it is simply an engineering processor and a crafting unit. And then we're going to attempt to craft one 16K crafting storage unit, which is going to require one of those crafting units and a 16K storage component. So we're going to have to step through and build 2 more of these. I do have one of these in the system, so we should only need 6 of these. And then we should be able to build 2 more of the 4K. And then finally that 16K component. Should be all we need to build our crafting storage. And now we're going to take a look at the interface block, which requires glass, 1 more of the formation and annihilation cores, and some iron. So not too complicated. We will need a whole bunch of these, but we're only going to craft 1 for now. and that's going to actually complete a quest, which we'll take a look at later. And taking a peek at our crafts, I believe that's all the unique items that we're going to need. We should be good to go. So I'm going to work on crafting a couple more of these components, and then I'm going to get it all set up and show you guys how it works. So we finally got our very basic auto crafting set up, and I'm going to do my best to explain how all this is working. This really stretched my resources and took longer than it should have. And I made one mistake, and that is that I crafted a whole bunch of interfaces instead of these pattern providers. I keep forgetting that Applied Energistics swapped those out, or I should say added these as an additional block. 16 total, and each one has 9 slots. So that is 9 times 16. That's how many different items that we're going to be able to auto craft, as well as 2 computer units. Each one of these has a crafting monitor, 2 60K crafting storage, and 3 co-processing units. I have 2 different computers, so I can do 2 crafts at a time. And each craft can have 3 processes under each one. And then as far as just craftable items, I can do 9 times 16. So definitely more than enough space to set up some auto crafting for more Applied Energistics components, so we can set up a more advanced system. So let's take a quick peek at this setup. You can see we've changed a few things. We now have automated our inscribers. So we have one set up for each of the presses, and then we have 2 that make the actual processor. We've also automated our charger, so we can automate the charge search cords and not have to wait on it to craft, because that's, let's be honest, that's a pain in the butt to click that in one at a time, which is what I was having to do. We have 2 more terminals here. We have a pattern encoding terminal, and we have a pattern access terminal. This allows me to access all of the patterns. And as you can see, there's the 16 that we were talking about that are set up to molecular assemblers. Here are the 6 that are touching our inscribers and the 1 touching our charger. These will never change. This one, we can add 1 or 2 more things to this, but these will end up full. And each one of these should be touching 3 molecular assemblers. So for example, if this one had a job going, it could use 3 of those to craft components. But say I queued something up that was in this one, it would then start using this one and share these 2 with this one. So it's not the most optimized setup, but it will work for what we need it for. But let's go ahead and craft a pattern so you can see how that works. And now we have a pattern for crafting tables. And we need to put that in one of our assemblers. Let's do something like 30. We're gonna hit next. And then this is where, when I say 2 crafting jobs, it tells you, you have 3 co-processors for CPU 1 and CPU 2. So we have 2 CPUs, and each one can process 3 things at a time. So we're gonna hit start. We're gonna run in here very quickly. You should be able to see it crafting them right here. So it's using those 3 assemblers, and it done it so fast we weren't able to see the job being done. I will say that when they're connected like this, you only need 1 connection to the maximum amount that cable can hold. So even though there's each one of these patterns counts as 1 Applied Energistics connection, so there's 4. And then there's 4 here. So this line has 8, and the line is running over here. And if I pop up the floor, you can see there's all 8 running into this dense cable, which can handle 32. So we do have a dense cable running from here and into our system. We will be cleaning this up, make it look a little nicer. But let's go ahead and look at getting our gear upgraded. So I was able to get my hands on an Allthemodium smithing template. We are so lucky we have a netherite seed, because this is so expensive to duplicate the smithing template. It requires 7 netherite, and then a piece of deep slate. So we're gonna duplicate this a few times. That should be enough. So that's 4 for armor, 2 for our gear. We're gonna put the other one over here somewhere where we don't accidentally use it. Let's throw it in here. Ooh, and it looks cool too. Oh, I'm liking that. Oh, we lagged out a little bit. Getting those advancements. And we're only gonna do one of our picks because I just realized we need one more for our other pick. I wasn't thinking about our sword. So we got to duplicate that one more time. Not bad, not bad. All right, guys, we're close to wrapping up for today. This has been kind of a recap and catch-up episode and planning for the future. But there is one last thing I want to do. All right, the last thing we're going to do is finally craft a steel seed. We're going to grab our prosperity seed base, our very, very expensive compressed steel blocks, and then our tier 4, the blue in essence. It's not inferium essence, it's imperium essence. Now we're gonna wait for that to craft. Guys, we have a steel seed. We already have the stuff that we need to make the farmland here. Where did our hoe go? There it is. We'll throw that in there with that. Oh, I already made the farmland. No big deal. Let's go get that set up. And then that's gonna wrap us up for today. I did add another search quartz in here because we're just kind of burning through a lot. Do I have a spot to put we'll put our steel right here. We are now producing steel. We may move these around some to consolidate some of the ingots and put the farmable items together. But we have finished that wall up. Probably in between episodes, guys, I am going to be working heavily on upgrading the base, really expanding it, not upgrading it. But between the last 2 episodes, I upgraded the base. We're going to be expanding the base, and I'm going to craft some more seeds. I really want a fluic seed because that was a big holdup waiting on fluic seed to handcraft. So we're going to look into that. But I think for today, let's go ahead and wrap things up. As always, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe. This is Acro Ninja, and that is a wrap.